Well, is it all real? That's kind of what I think some people that are coming here want to know. Is it real that there are miracles? Is it real that there's healing? Is it real that, there really are weird things that go bump in the night? And if you're joining us, well, welcome. I'm Reverend Kevin, and this is Wisdom Fragments, and we try to find fragments of wisdom that are out there all over the place and bring them together. And this is mostly a Christian channel, but everybody's welcome. And today we're going to talk about a couple things from my own personal experience. I was separated from the church for over 10 years. And this was way before I got ordained. And this is a question that I have always wondered, is it real? It kind of reminds me of The Force Awakens, because Han Solo, he really, when he in the first movie in Star Wars, he didn't believe in any of this stuff. He thought that there was nothing more than himself, and he watches as everything progresses throughout the entire three movies, and he completely changes his mind. And then in The Force Awakens, everybody else is wondering where the Jedi are. What are they? What is this all a myth? And then he tells us something profound. Let's hear what he says.
The Jedi were real.
I used to wonder about that myself. Thought it was a bunch of mumbo jumbo. Crazy thing is, the Force, the Jedi, it's all true.
And he says, it's all real. And that's what I want you guys to know, is that this is all real. And, when I believe in Jesus Christ, it's not because I haven't seen. It's because I have seen. And I think this is one of the things that we forget, is that many of us that are leading in ministry have seen, and we need to tell everybody about it. So I'm going to tell you about one of the more boring ones first, and then we'll get into two more that are a little bit more interesting. So the first one is my current situation. So I'm out here in California. My wife got an awesome job out here. That meant that I had to leave my church, and there aren't a lot of churches available here in my denomination. In fact, most of the people here have never heard of a Lutheran, so they don't even know what it is. And I'm sitting here waiting for a call, but here's what happened on the way here. So we moved from Minnesota to here. So we moved in December. So this is 2,000 miles. Normally during December, we have tons and tons of snow. That was not the case. It didn't snow until after we arrived back in Minnesota, and the snow in the Sierras ended the day we got into Reno. And because our car is geared to driving in Minnesota, driving through the mountains was pretty easy. That isn't always the case, but in the mountains did not have a chain advisory. So, just some snow covered in the mountains wasn't that hard. And my wife has 3 licenses that she needs to have as a nurse practitioner, and she got them all in 6 weeks. That's unheard of. We had a lot more major miracles on how to get out here, and that's why I'm telling you this. The second one I want to tell you about is when I was an intern. I think this is when I kind of only partially believed in healing. I wasn't a pastor yet. I have never seen healing, not to the extent that faith healers claim. I have seen sacraments do major things, but I have never seen healing do this. So this guy, his name was Jerry. I met him when he was diagnosed with a terminal lung cancer. It wasn't really the lung cancer that did him in. It was the removal of the lung to get rid of the cancer. I mean, he was cancer free, but he was dying. And it took a long time. It took over 6 months for him to pass. But there were multiple times where it just was weird and surreal. So there's one time when I thought I would be doing what would be called the last rites in the Roman Catholic Church before Vatican II. They don't do this anymore. It's a part of the sacrament of the sick. The Lutheran Church has the same ceremony. We call it the commendation of the dying. I thought that's what I was going to do. The family didn't want me to do that, so I did the brief order of healing, which is the same ceremony pretty much as what the Roman Catholics use for the sacrament of the sick. This is what happened. Immediately after I finished, he pops right up. He was dying. He pops up and he raises his hand out and says, "Hi, Kevin, how are you doing? How'd you get in here?" I'm like, Jerry, you're alive. It's like, that kind of thing happened more often than not. And it's amazing how few pastors ever tell anybody about it. I don't remember how many times he was almost dead. And the ceremonies that we were using brought him back. And the thing was is that we had to let him go because he wasn't going to last much longer. But eventually, when he did pass, I think everybody realized where he was going, and he was going to heaven. And now I want to tell you about the weirdest part of my faith journey. This is before I met Jerry. So I personally felt like angels were real, demons not so much, spirits, all that kind of stuff, all those things that go bump in the night, not so much. And then we had this one lady who requested a blessing of her home. Now, normally that's not an issue. I mean, we just go in and bless it, and that's fine, and yeah, nothing happens. Well, this case was a little weird. She had a weird illness that she looked like she was 20 years older, that she had aged 20 years and 6 months. She could barely move. She could barely walk. It was a medical conundrum. Her house seemed normal, but there wasn't much to it. And so we went through each room of the house. And the Lutheran ceremony is boring, so I Roman Catholiced it up, and we went through each room, and we did the sign of the cross in each room, and we said a prayer in each room. And then one room, weird things started happening. Everybody jumped, things moved. The cat jumped and screamed. It felt like there was something there. It felt like something had left. It felt like all of this was real. And I know that this is hard for people to accept. I think this is one of the reasons why we have so many people that don't want to be in church right now. It's because we want you to read the scripture, and we want you to accept what everybody else saw 2,000 years ago. We don't want you to accept what's happening right now. It is still happening. People are healed all the time. Weird things happen all the time. And this is what faith is about. Faith is about this mystery of why is this happening? And, hopefully this discussion has helped you, and you will start to realize that this is all real.